The NBA draft has been in existence since the 1940s, and over the years we have seen a ton of iconic drafts from Magic Johnson to LeBron James and tons of others. Today we're going to look at what happened to the number one picks from 1990 to 2000. Was this one of the best decades for number one picks? I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you, some became legends on the court and others, well, not so much.
The New Jersey Nets select Derek Coleman from Syracuse.
When the New Jersey Nets, now called the Brooklyn Nets, saw the potential of Derek Coleman and made him the top pick in the 1990 NBA draft, all eyes were definitely on him to see how it'll all work out. But you see, Derek Coleman's career in the NBA was a mix of potential, fleeting greatness, and personal struggles to say the least. While not completely a bust, his career was marked by moments of brilliance intertwined with off-court controversies. A star in college and an early sensation in the pros, Coleman's eventual underachievement was marred by injuries, immaturity, and brushes with the law. And by brushes, I mean his life literally took a darker turn with his struggles with alcohol abuse, which led to the decline in his career, leading to a series of troubling arrests. Derek has not one, not two, not three, but 7 arrests in total while being an active player. Yeah, for real. This was a record for arrests in the NBA history, and charges range from assault to even public urination. He seemed troubled, but his talents on the court were always there to show. Emerging from Syracuse University in 1990, Coleman was touted as a future Hall of Famer. His college years were filled with standout performances, leading the Orange to the NCAA tournament finals as a freshman and quarterfinals as a junior. That's what drove the New Jersey Nets to pick him. Bursting onto the scene, Coleman proved himself as a force to be reckoned with, boasting averages of 18.4 points per game and 10.3 rebounds in just his rookie season. He continued to be a consistent double-double contributor, earning comparisons to legends like Karl Malone and Charles Barkley. One of Coleman's high points came in 1994 when he clinched a gold medal at the World Championships. But injuries began to take their toll on his once unstoppable momentum. A series of trades and transfers saw Coleman's production wane as he battled physical setbacks. His career averages of 16.5 points and 9.3 rebounds failed to fully capture the potential that once burned so brightly. After retiring, Derek Coleman transitioned into a new chapter of his life. In 2007, he ventured into the fields of development and entrepreneurship in Detroit. He has also taken on roles as a studio analyst for NBA TV's NBA Game Time Live coverage, allowing him to remain connected to the game that once showcased his extraordinary talents.
The Charlotte Hornets select Larry Johnson from University.
Safe to say, Larry Johnson's NBA career was a roller coaster of what-ifs. What if he and Alonzo Mourning had just sat down and worked things out? What if he hadn't been traded to the New York Knicks? What if he hadn't had hurt his back? He burst onto the scene from his senior year at Skyline High School in Dallas, Texas. Shout out to all my homies down in Dallas, you know where it's at. And at UNLV, where he certainly left an impression with a national championship win, crowned by his consecutive titles as Big West Player of the Year and consensus first-team All-American. The Charlotte Hornets seized the opportunity to draft the rising star with the first overall pick in the 1991 NBA draft. Johnson certainly wasted no time, exploding onto the pro scene with an impressive rookie season, averaging 19.2 points, 11 rebounds, and 3.6 assists. He followed it up with a dazzling sophomore year, earning his first NBA All-Star Game appearance, All-NBA second-team honors, and a taste of postseason action, albeit as second-round exit against the Knicks. A pivotal moment in Johnson's career was the signing of a record-breaking 7-year, $84 million contract with the Hornets. But, and I mean a big but, pause. This marked the beginning of his struggles with back injuries, disrupting his momentum and causing him to miss a significant number of games. Although he bounced back from the setback of his back injuries, pun intended, anyways, he secured his second All-Star appearance and propelled the Hornets to their first 50-win season. But yet again, a friction with Alonzo Mourning, his Hornets teammate, led to a trade that shifted the dynamics. Johnson found himself in the Knicks blue and orange, but injuries continued to hinder his performance. In contrast to his standout years in Charlotte, Johnson's stint in New York saw a decline in his stats, and he eventually retired in 2001, prematurely ending his illustrious career due to persistent back injuries. Johnson converted to Islam later on, and his personal life has definitely seen its fair share of complexity over the years, as evidenced by his relationships and financial challenges, including a bankruptcy filing back in 2015 in a California court, claiming that he owed $120K in unpaid child support.
The Orlando Magic selects Shaquille O'Neal from Louisiana.
Standing at a towering 7'1" and weighing a solid 325 pounds, Shaq certainly needed little or no introduction as he was a basketball powerhouse. But not a powerhouse like me. Hey, back in my heyday, Shaq wouldn't have nothing on me, you know? Anyways, this guy redefined the term dominance on the basketball court. With his larger-than-life personality and raw athleticism, he had fans across the globe jumping on the Shaq bandwagon. Shaq played for a whopping 6 teams throughout his 19-year NBA career, and he left a mark every single place he went. Back in his college days at LSU, he was already a force to be reckoned with, and the Orlando Magic recognized his potential and drafted him as the first overall pick in the 1992 NBA draft. Rookie of the Year? Nailed it. He then led his team to the 1995 NBA Finals, showing the world that he was the real deal. After a great run with the Magic, Shaq packed his bags and headed to the City of Angels. With the Lakers, he snagged 3 consecutive championships from 2000 to 2002. In 2004, he shook things up by joining the Miami Heat, adding another championship ring to his collection in 2006. Numbers don't lie, and Shaq's numbers were staggering. 15 All-Star games, 3 Finals MVP titles, 2 scoring crowns, 14 All-NBA selections, and the list goes on. He even clinched the elusive trifecta of MVP, All-Star Game MVP, and Finals MVP in the same year, a feat only matched by 2 other legends. Oh, and that field goal percentage, 58.2%. Beyond the court, Shaq was, let's say, a jack of all trades and a man of many talents. From acting to music, he's done it all. He's rocked the mic with 4 rap albums and showcased his DJ skills under the moniker Diesel. He's lit up the big screen and even hosted his own reality shows. Acting, music, television, wrestling, gaming, he has conquered it all, to say the least. And his heart was as big as his game, as for over 15 years he's been a national spokesperson, giving back to the community that shaped him.
The Orlando Magic select Chris Webber.
From the 1988-99 season to the 2004-05 season, he gave the Kings 23.5 points per game, 10.6 rebounds per game, 4.8 assists per game, 1.5 steals per game, and 1.5 blocks per game. Yeah, he was good. You see, back in 1991, the University of Michigan assembled a powerhouse recruiting class that would redefine college basketball, composing the legendary Fab Five: Jimmy King, Ray Jackson, Juwan Howard, Jalen Rose, and Chris Webber. Webber, a gifted power forward, stood at the forefront of this movement, but the Fab Five era was tainted by controversy. Webber's involvement in the Ed Martin scandal led to his indictment by a federal grand jury and his NCAA All-American honors being revoked. Following his college success, Chris Webber leaped into the NBA, drafted as the #1 overall pick by the Orlando Magic in 1993, and he kicked it off with a bang. He won Rookie of the Year. But despite his promising start, his career embarked on a roller coaster ride marked with achievements and downsides. He went on to become a 5-time NBA All-Star and 5-time All-NBA team member. His rookie season was noteworthy, not only for his individual talents, but also for the unique circumstances of his transfer. The Orlando Magic, holding his draft rights, traded him to the Golden State Warriors in exchange for a significant draft haul, including the rights to Penny Hardaway. Yeah, they did that. Webber's time with the Warriors was overshadowed by his strained relationship with coach Don Nelson. Employing a rare contract clause, he maneuvered a sign-and-trade deal to the Washington Bullets, now the Wizards, but it didn't really work out there. The turning point of Chris Webber's career arrived when he was traded to the Sacramento Kings in 1998. The Kings were in need of revitalization, having made the playoffs only once in the 12 years prior. Webber's impact was undeniable, especially during the early 2000s when he led the team to multiple playoff appearances, including a memorable run in the 2002 Western Conference Finals, a series that might have resulted in a championship if not for a memorable 3-point shot by Robert Horry.
Ball tipped out to Horry, a straight on 3, good! The Lakers have won!
Beyond his on-court contributions, Chris Webber's career also saw its fair share of controversies. In 1998, he faced legal troubles, including an arrest with charges ranging from assault to possession of marijuana to driving under the influence. Well, eventually he was acquitted of the more serious charges. He ventured into business and philanthropy, with his efforts including the launch of a private equity fund for minority-owned cannabis businesses and the establishment of his cannabis brand, Players Only. In 2021, the basketball world celebrated as Chris Webber was finally announced as a member of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2021.
The Milwaukee Bucks select Glenn Robinson from...
Back in 1994, when Milwaukee was on the clock for the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft, they set their sights on Glenn Big Dog Robinson. Mind you, this was a draft that also boasted Jason Kidd and Grant Hill, but Robinson stood out as the prime choice. But his entry into the Bucks was a bit turbulent, to say the least. Contract negotiations initially stalled when the big dog demanded a staggering $100 million. Holding out during training camp, he eventually settled for a 10-year, $68 million deal. Not close to what he initially wanted, but at least it was a rookie contract record at the time. The nickname Big Dog wasn't just for show. Robinson's debut season was a big success. His stats spoke volumes: 21.9 points, 6.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.4 steals, and 0.3 blocks per game. The 2000 to 2001 season marked Milwaukee's pinnacle with Robinson at the helm. Alongside Ray Allen and Sam Cassell, he steered the Bucks and clinched the Central Division title. Their journey led them to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they went through a 7-game clash with the Philadelphia 76ers, only to fall short in the end. After Milwaukee, Robinson journeyed through stints with the Atlanta Hawks and the Sixers. The crowning moment of his career arrived in 2004, when he donned the San Antonio Spurs shirt. Despite playing just 9 games due to injuries, he emerged as an NBA champion, with career averages of 20.7 points, 6.1 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.2 steals, and 0.6 blocks. While he wasn't a true cornerstone star, he certainly was one of the finest pure scorers of his era. Notably, he was part of the 94-95 All-Rookie First Team and a 2-time All-Star with 8 seasons boasting scoring averages of above 20 points per game. Before his NBA journey, Robinson was a college standout, especially during his prime with Purdue, as he bagged both the Naismith and Wooden Awards as the nation's top player. His Big Ten dominance extended to leading Purdue to a conference title in an NCAA Tournament Elite 8 appearance. While Robinson's professional achievements are praiseworthy, his life was not without its controversies. In 2003, he faced legal troubles, being convicted of domestic battery and assault charges related to an incident involving his former fiancée.
The Golden State Warriors select Joe Smith from the University.
Honestly, Joe Smith being selected as the #1 overall pick in the 95 NBA draft was a pretty big deal, as he was chosen ahead of players like Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, and Kevin Garnett, although he didn't reach All-Star status during his 16-year career. He was drafted by the Golden State Warriors straight out of the University of Maryland. His early NBA years were his best, particularly with the Warriors, where he averaged an impressive 16.2 points per game over his first 3 seasons. But his career took a different trajectory when he was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers, as his stats began to dwindle from there. What's interesting about Smith is that he wasn't what you'd call a phenomenal superstar, but he found a way to contribute positively to the various teams he played for. He became a reliable role player, notching up an admirable over 11,000 points, about 6,500 rebounds, and almost 900 block shots over a span of over 1,000 games. Yet he didn't fulfill the large expectations that come with being a #1 overall pick. You might wonder why Joe Smith isn't included in the infamous list of the biggest NBA draft busts. Well, the answer lies in the fact that while he may have not lived up to the sky-high hopes placed on him, he still managed to have a solid NBA career, raking in over $60 million. He wasn't a failure unlike some players later on in the video. What makes his case even more interesting is the context of the 1995 draft. After Smith, players like Kevin Garnett, Rasheed Wallace, and Jerry Stackhouse were selected, and they went on to have significant careers. This comparative success perhaps softened the blow of Smith not being a superstar, as it showed that the draft class had notable talent beyond him. He made his mark as part of the all-rookie team in the 95-96 season. Despite never cementing himself as a franchise cornerstone, Smith's ability to adapt led him to be one of the most traded players in NBA history, donning the colors of 12 different NBA teams, for real. After his playing days, Smith continued to be involved in the basketball world, offering private coaching services in the greater Atlanta area through Coach Up. He even tried his hand at music, releasing a solo rap album under the name Joe Beast.
The Philadelphia 76ers select Allen Iverson from...
The NBA certainly has had its fair share of unforgettable and bizarre people over the history of the league. From Red Auerbach and all of his cigar-chomping greatness, to Dennis Rodman with his larger-than-life persona, to Ron Artest, who has changed his name, gotten drunk at halftime, punched a fan, and most importantly, plays great defense. But perhaps no player divided his fans quite like Allen Iverson, fondly known as The Answer. Allen Iverson is a player who stirred both love and hate among fans. Critics condemned him as a disruptive punk and a criminal, accusing him of tarnishing the NBA's image with his alleged ball-hogging and inability to lead the 76ers to a championship. Yet, his supporters saw beyond the surface, acknowledging and recognizing him as one of the game's most dominant scorers and passionate players. Standing at 6 feet, at least that's what was recorded by the NBA, but Iverson was actually closer to 5'10". In high school, he excelled as an option quarterback, fearlessly taking on larger linebackers, a trait he carried onto the basketball court, driving relentlessly at power forwards and centers. Despite his exceptional talents on the football field, basketball was his true calling. and he emerged as one of the nation's top recruits. His talents earned him a spot in the NBA draft after his sophomore year, where he was selected as the first overall pick by the 76ers in the 96 draft. Iverson claimed the Rookie of the Year title and established himself as one of the league's finest players. While many anticipated a smooth path to greatness, Iverson's story was far from predictable. He stands as one of the most prolific scorers in basketball history, averaging 26.7 points per game throughout his entire career. The zenith of Iverson's career arrived in 2001 when he led the Sixers to the NBA Final, clinching the MVP title along the way. As his career advanced, he played for various teams, including the Denver Nuggets, Detroit Pistons, and the Memphis Grizzlies, eventually ending his NBA journey with the Sixers in the 09-10 season. His legacy is commemorated as he was ranked the 5th greatest NBA shooting guard of all time by ESPN in 2008. Following his NBA departure, Iverson continued to play overseas and even ventured into a player coaching role for Three's Company in the inaugural season of the Big Three basketball.
The San Antonio Spurs select Tim Duncan from Wake Forest.
There's a pretty big reason why the Big Fundamental is renowned as not only the greatest power forward of all time, but one of the most revered players in NBA history. Behind me, obviously. Tim Duncan was the bedrock of the San Antonio Spurs dominance from the early 2000s to the 2010s. He received induction into the esteemed Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2020, and secured a spot on the NBA's prestigious 75th anniversary team in 2021 for all his achievements on the court. Probably one of the most consistent NBA players in history, Duncan was just brilliant. I mean, he's made 15 All-NBA team selections and a record-breaking 15 appearances on the All-Defensive team. Even though people call him Mr. Fundamental, there's something about Tim Duncan that just makes you sit back and be in astonishment. When he's hitting a turnaround jumper or dipping around a guy to get to the rim, there's some timeless things about his game, to say the least. San Antonio's first overall pick in the 97 NBA draft, Duncan's impact on the Spurs was big. I mean, huge. His versatility saw him excel at both power forward and center positions, a unique trait that few players could emulate. Even when we did a poll about who was the best center, the comments were almost 50-50 if you considered him a power forward or a center. But back to it, Duncan had 5 NBA championships, 3 finals MVPs, and a double-digit streak of all NBA and all defensive team selections are just a few feathers in his cap. Off the court, he channeled his fame to foster positive change, founding the Tim Duncan Foundation to raise health awareness and support education and youth sports programs. In 2019, Duncan transitioned from legendary player to assistant coach for the San Antonio Spurs. Even in this role, his influence and leadership qualities were there for all to see, and his debut as acting head coach was marked with fantastic victory. Tim Duncan's post-retirement life has been a portrait of philanthropy, with the Tim Duncan Foundation's initiatives ranging from funding cancer research to supporting disaster relief efforts. Duncan's character was forged by his mother's wisdom, which he embodied on and off the court. His impact on the Virgin Islands was monumental, earning him the highest honor bestowed by the territorial government.
The Los Angeles Clippers select Michael Olowokandi from University.
If we were to pick the most roller coaster career in the NBA, Michael Olowokandi is probably up there. As they called him, the Candyman, he emerged onto the basketball scene with the Los Angeles Clippers in the 1998 NBA draft as the #1 pick. Standing at a towering 7 feet tall, Olowokandi faced early struggles during his time at the University of the Pacific, but his senior year marked a turning point. He was dominating the court by averaging an astounding 22.2 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 2.9 blocks per game. This exceptional performance earned him the Big West Player of the Year award and, of course, positioned him as a standout prospect for the 98 NBA draft, and the Clippers swooped up on him. Sadly, all the promising talent he had went down the drain with a series of unfortunate injuries, most especially a reoccurring knee issue that led to surgeries and forced absences from the court. Despite flashes of brilliance, including double-digit point averages in his later years with the Clippers, injuries prevented Olowokandi from reaching his full potential. Probably in another universe where injuries hadn't struck, Olowokandi's story would have been remarkably different. Interestingly enough, the Candyman was part of a solid 98 draft class that included renowned players like Dirk Nowitzki, Paul Pierce, and Vince Carter. These players made their name well known in the NBA, but Olowokandi's career took a different path due to injuries. Away from the court, Olowokandi demonstrated his compassion through charitable efforts. Fundraisers, volunteering works, awareness, he was all involved.
The Chicago Bulls select Elton Brand from Duke.
From 1999 to 2007, Elton Brand was on fire. And I mean it when I say that he was averaging 20.3 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks per game. Crazy enough, only Shaq and Tim Duncan matched those stats. He was the Rookie of the Year in the 99 through 2000 season and even rocked a couple of All-Star selections along with an All-NBA second team nod in the 05-06 season. Elton was a beast both offensively and as a defensive anchor. He played a pivotal role in the Clippers' 2006 playoff appearance, a rarity for them, but then an Achilles tear in 2007 threw a wrench into his prime. But he didn't let it slow him down too much, pushing through for several more solid seasons. When he was at Duke, he was a huge deal. Led them to a championship game in '98, even though they fell short to UConn. And hey, he wasn't afraid to make an early jump to the NBA, one of the first 3 Duke players to do so. And Duke's Coach K was behind that move. After being picked first overall in the '99 draft by the Bulls, he had some standout seasons with them, putting up around 20 points and 10 boards per game. Chicago, though, wasn't the perfect fit, so he found a home with the Clippers. It was like a match made in basketball heaven, with Elton earning an All-Star nod, getting MVP consideration, and taking the Clippers deeper in their playoffs. After stints with a few teams, including the Sixers, he called it quits in 2016. These days, he's calling the shots as the general manager of the Delaware Bluecoats, which is connected to the 76ers. Off the court, he started the Elton Brand Foundation in 2000. He also made a cameo in a movie and is in the brains behind Gibraltar Films. To add to that, he's also featured for the Team USA in the FIBA World Championships. And that wraps up every first overall pick from the 1990s. Whose career surprised you the most? I don't know if I'd put the 90s as the best decade, but they for sure had a good handful of players. We were gonna make this an hour-long video where we cover all the #1 picks up to 2023, but that video was way too long. So if you do want me to cover the rest of the 2000s, let me know in the comments. In the meantime, check out this video right here, because if you like this one, then I know for sure you're gonna like this one.